All right, sorry for the small print. So now we're going to shift, we're going to talk about the goals. The bottom line are 10 broad goals. These are not required to be priorities with goals. To get to the punchline here, the staff is recommending that we continue the goals as they are, and we move into the priorities. So the goals are broad, and there's 10 of them, A through J, and this is a summary version. The next page has the full text for each of the goals. Here are the first 5. Now these cover the broad areas, all the departments in the organization. The first one, A, provide professional local government leadership. So I don't have metrics for these. We do for the priorities. These are just the underlying statements about the goals of the organization. This is very common. In some institutions, especially in the private sector, each goal will have like dozens of objectives, and then you hold your department heads or your business unit leaders accountable in achieving those objectives. So sort of management by objectives. So if you like, we can go through each one, or we can just acknowledge that they're there. We'll continue them for another year, and we can go into the priorities. So it's the board's prerogative. How would you like to go through the goals?
Any comments? Okay. Yeah, I think continuation.
All right, we'll spend now more time on the priorities. So I'll present the priorities quickly in summary format and in more detail. As a reminder, the priorities, these are policy statements, requirements that you want to see the organization achieve during the upcoming year. Now, you can have a priority, we're talking about 850 Great Avenue. You can say a top priority for this board is to get the Health and Human Services building built and open. Obviously, we can't do that in 1 year, but you'll put that on there, and that's one of your top priorities. So we have to make progress during that year to get there. So you can have the same subject if you can multiple years, if it's still a top priority for the board. Last fiscal year, you had 10 of them. There's no magic number. You can have 11, 15. We're going to recommend that you have 5. I think in your discussions with Mr. Lopez, you felt that there would be more value in having a smaller number of top priorities. Focus on that. Now, if an item is not on the top 5 or 10, it doesn't mean it's not important to the county. Obviously, we have hundreds and hundreds of priorities that we're working on with 1,000 employees. But this is what you're telling the community are your top items to focus on. Well, I'll just go with the short version. So 1 through 10, and it's not necessarily in order of importance, although the ones that are higher up did receive more votes from the board, and then we put them in there, but we make it clear that item 1 is not more important than 7 or 10. So the first one is to prepare a long-term organization strategic plan and employee succession plan. I'll tell you what, I'll go through each one and give you a report card, because you did ask for that. We did give you, I think, around January, a mid-year report. And I'm sorry for the small print. You do have a copy of this. This is a 9-page document in the report card section. And I'll hit on the highlights. But I will tell you up front, of the 10 top priorities, we did complete and/or significant progress on 6 of the 10. Good. So far. You can go, keep going.
Remember, he's a teacher, and now this is very.
You know what I'm doing? Is I get, as a teacher, I feel very disconnected. These are our county top 10 goals, and yet you're sitting back here, and it's hard to engage you in this setting. So I want everybody to move their seat up all the way closer here to the board so we can get your input, and so we can hear from you as a organizational unit. now you can't be in the back like I was as a teacher, texting people.
Well, this is great, now,
Now that you hear all that
and nobody's
stuff.
behind my back.
You can see better, and also, like I said, we can get input from you as our department heads and county employees.
Well, that was a good audible. I like that. Okay, so the first one is that you directed the E-team to prepare a long-term organizational strategic plan, including a mission statement and customer service philosophy, and an employee succession plan. Okay, so we did deliver on the mission statement, if you will, and the customer service philosophy. We got direction to go back and fine tune that, so we will do that. We were moving along very nicely when we had our HR director report from on board in April or May of 2017. We were doing some really good work, and then that person left after about a year. So that got sidetracked, so we're not able to deliver those items at this time, but we're still working on it. We're going to wait for the new HR director to come on board. Hopefully a decision will be made this week on that, or next week, and then that person will pick it up. And we, the HR staff is continuing to do some work on this in the interim, as well as staff from the county administrator's office. And that's where we are in that. So this falls under the in progress category. Any questions now on number 2?
Any questions?
Any questions?
You guys, is it right here? That's right.
All right. Everybody has to pay attention. This is good. Item number 2. Priority number 2, develop and implement a long-term homeless management plan with measurable target dates and provide quarterly updates. So we've completed this, I believe it was in November, let's say in there, like November 7th. The board did approve a long-term homeless management plan, and it had a number of steps that had to be taken. You also directed, you also established an 11-member citizens committee, and that committee had a number of meetings. The committee did, as you heard earlier, recommend 2 sites to look at, and then that was narrowed down to 1 site. When they did their 2 sites, the board directed staff to do the necessary due diligence on both sites, continue to work on the management plan, and to work with the committee to further review the staff's due diligence. So, and then in July 23rd, we met with the committee, and they narrowed it down to 1 site, 1965 Light Oak Boulevard site, behavioral health. So that you got the presentation that a little while ago. On 9/11, staff will return to the board with an update on homeless issues, including the recommended site for a temporary homeless shelter. There are a series of other aspects of the homeless management plan that have either been implemented or soon will be implemented. You might remember we were directed to monitor the Feather River water levels, move forward on removal and trimming of vegetation in the river bottom areas, removal of debris, and then work with the area housing authority in the city on their 40 or 42 unit affordable housing development project in Cardinal Highway. That's a few years out. So staff is continuing to do that. We'll get a more detailed update on 9/11. Are there any questions about that?
Just, how we doing with the vegetation?
And that would be a question for Neil Hay.
So the environmental consultants written the biological reports, and they are applying for the permit from the State Department of Water or Wildlife and Fish and Wildlife. And once that's
No
all
problem,
done,
yeah.
pardon?
No problem with it, yeah.
No, so we haven't got it. So once we get the permit, then we would go out and begin to seek the cost if we were to go and do the habitat or the vegetation removal. And we may, depending on the funding and the money available, we'll have to decide if we're going to do the entire stretch or just doing segments.
And that will have a cost. And that's a general fund hit.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's not cheap. So the board will have to make a decision on what to do on that. So number 3, and Mr. Hay did provide a pretty good update on this. This is to deal with our facilities. So we were directed to complete a comprehensive county-wide facilities master plan we fell short on that. If you saw, there was a lot of work done with Cosmont Associates as well as K&N Public Finance. So we made significant progress. Mr. Hay did update you on the various projects that are delineated in that top priority. So that falls under completed and in progress. And we're coming back on 7 here somewhere. We're coming back, what date, Neil?
9:25.
On September 25th. With a more thorough update. We're okay with moving on to item 4?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Item 4 is with respect to the Sutter Point specific plan. So the direction was ensure compliance with Sutter Point specific plan and related environmental requirements when development commences. That falls under completed and in progress. We've actually done a lot. So the interesting thing about Sutter Point is we don't come in front of the board too often with Sutter Point items, but there's a lot of work taking place behind the scenes. I mean, every week there's a lot. I mean, essentially, you're building a new community that could hit upwards of 50,000 in population over a 30-year period. You don't just say, go do it. There's a lot of groundwork that takes years, actually decades. So this last fiscal year was a busy one. We delineate some of the milestones that were achieved, and more recently, on June 12th, the board did approve hiring an outside consultant, Carol Shirley, who's got a ton of experience, former planning director in Sacramento City. She pretty much coordinated and worked on the Natomas specific plan. So she brings excellent direct experience to this issue because we're also part of the Natomas Basin Conservancy. So she's been a pleasure to work with, very helpful to Neil and his staff. And we have regular meetings. We're now giving property owners and developers that are close to the pre-app process. Their frustration is we don't have turnkey parcels that they can just go build. But we definitely have the interest, especially on the industrial warehouse type of use and employers, large employers who need large flat parcels close to the airport. So lots of interest. We're doing quite a bit of work, and now there's interest too to start with residential subdivisions. So we're working on that. Those are still 2, 3, 4 years away. We've got to get the infrastructure in line. And as you know, and it's delineated in here, we're going to come back to the board shortly to start the process of soliciting proposals from firms to help us with the financing and environmental infrastructure analysis. We're going to look at how we pay for all this, and the developers are fronting the bills at this point. The last paragraph delineates some of the challenges, whether it's the same gap issue, internal drainage, Placer Parkway funding agreement, etc. So we just keep going on that. And we have regular meetings at the staff level. Any questions on that? No? Okay, we'll move on. Item 5, so this one falls under completed, and it will move off of our top list of items. This reads, conduct a thorough review of the county's existing marijuana cultivation ordinance and recommend potential revisions and provide a report to the board. So we've done that. Earlier in the year, the board was interested in going forward, exploring doing a tax measure of some sort, going to the voters, and the staff was working on that. And then it was ultimately decided basically to wait and see, because there were a series of issues that had been raised. Some of our surrounding counties and cities have had some challenges with this. So as that's delineated here, the recommendation is continue to wait and see, monitor what's going on, and then if it makes sense to come back to this, we'll do so at board's direction. So any clarification comments on that? Thank you. Priority number 6. This reads, and we covered some of that today, starting with the current fiscal year, 2018-19, or the last, I guess this year. Prepare, for the budget that we have now, prepare a traditional operating and capital improvements program, or CIP budget documents, and the county's first comprehensive annual financial report, CAFR, for prepare a plan to achieve a structurally balanced budget, provide semi-annual reports to the board with respect to the county's pension and OPEB liabilities, and submit a proposal to prepare a long-term financial strategic plan. In progress. We hit some of these targets, we're a little behind in others. I think what we did last year, we had these lofty goals and priorities, but I'm glad we put them on the list. And I would have liked to have added 1,000%, but we ended up having 600, so we got 6 of the 10 we did complete. But we're working on this, and we talked about some of this earlier. We're working with our auditor controller to get a cap done for this year. A lot of hard work on that, and I appreciate everybody's indulgence and patience as we go through that. With respect to our budget, it's going to take us a while to get to a structurally balanced budget, but we know we have to get there. And we're coming to the board shortly, I think on September 25th. Matt Michaelis is leading the charge. He will come to the board with requests to do an RFP to get firms to submit proposals to guide us into a long-term, multi-year financial strategic plan. So that is that update. Does the board have any questions or comments on that? Moving on to priority number 7. This has to do with commercial truck parking issues, if I remember right. Yes. Review the county's land use plan, suggest revisions for areas on Highway 99, south of the city boundaries, present a proposal for designated area or areas for a truck stop and related land use, and conduct an analysis and present options for improved code enforcement of businesses in the unappropriated areas. So I wish we could say completed, but we made a lot of progress. There's been an increase in code enforcement. So we appreciate the board's decision to hire a code enforcement officer not that long ago. This person is inundated with work, as you can imagine, throughout the county. I wish we had resources to have 3 or 4 code enforcement officers. We have the right person at the right time with the right personality doing that job. She's outstanding. She's had a lot of success with the commercial trucks operating on issues. We have a long ways to go. The board did back a year ago. We did establish an ad hoc committee with 2 supervisors to review issues associated with commercial truck parking. That committee has met with the trucking advocates and the residents. You know, out in the community, you're hit all the time. I was at the gym this morning, and the resident who is impacted significantly being living next to one of these facilities is going on and on about this. And so it's out there. It's not going away. But we made some good progress. And we're coming back to the board. Neil, what's the date we're coming back to the board? October 9th. October 9th, there it is, I'm sorry. The committee's report with its recommendation and changes to the ordinance will come back on October 9th. This is a very tough issue. It involves a careful and delicate balancing act. The fees that have been collected are really beyond insignificant or below insignificant. The Oswald intersection, which would be a lot, that's a $3 million project. I think we have collected at max $40,000. So we have to figure out a way how to pay for the impacts of this industry in the community without causing the industry to go away. So it's a complicated one. In progress, you'll get a more thorough update on October 9th. Any questions or comments? Thank you. Let's move on to priority number 8. This has to do with flood protection, so I'll just read it. Continue to work with the Sutter County Flood Control Agency, often referred to as SBUCA, State Department of Water Resources, and local levee and reclamation districts, other government agencies to complete ongoing countywide levee improvement projects and obtain funding for future levee projects. And work to obtain improved flood protection insurance designation from the federal government for regions of the county with less than 100-year protection. Completed and in progress. We are blessed to have SBUCA leadership there. They're an agency that gets things done. As you know, they spend over $300 million on levee improvements in the county. Really benefited the city. Your staff, various supervisors and staff have participated in a large number of meetings with SBUCA, DWR, Levee District 1, Levee District 9, and various other flood protection partners with respect to a variety of capital improvement projects. We still have a ways to go, but we've had successes with the emergency project in protecting the downtown Yuba City area. That project's done. SPUCA did very good work to obtain some funding for the 5-mile stretch from Tudor Road to Cypress Road. And they followed up on the Laurel Road issue, the impact of that from the high water event and so on. And they worked with Neil and his staff, so we were able to take care of that issue down there. The challenge now is all the money that was provided from federal and state governments to do these projects require ongoing maintenance. So levy districts 1 and 9 are struggling with that issue, and they've had a series of meetings. They'll come in front of the board. If they do a vote, they're going to have to do a vote. And so the board will have to agree to put that on the ballot for these 2 levy districts to look at an increase in the yearly property tax bill to cover the maintenance of these levies. It's a difficult issue, but at least it will go to the voters on maybe, and the voters will have to decide. If it's not funded, then it's a big question mark, and we lose our eligibility for the federal and state money, as I understand the issue. So we're working very closely with our partner on that. So we mark that as completed and in progress. Any questions? Comments? Thank you. Priority number 9, this has to do with communication with our residents and our businesses. We were directed to improve the county's website, better use of social media to allow for more user-friendly interaction, and to provide employee training with respect to customer service, civic engagement, etc., and to do a community survey. So completed and in progress. We haven't done that community survey. We still have the money for that, and we'll visit that when we're ready. We have to take some baby steps before we jump in and do that. We do have to continue to improve social media. The board is fully aware when we had this fire incident. We didn't do as good a job as we should have for you in how we communicated with the community and with each of you. We did a good job managing the fire and taking care of that, but we recognize we have a little ways to go. But that's good. This is good. And we're in the process of purchasing a system to help get the word out. So we've done a good job, but we need to do a better job. And we have participated in, here's where we've excelled at. I mean, Chuck has done a good job with this in terms of participating in getting positive stories out there, the radio interviews, each of you have penned at least 1 or 2 op-ed pieces articulating the services provided by the county and some of the issues that we do. We'll continue to do that. We have the annual State of the County address, and we're going to talk to the chair about expanding that and maybe doing a more traditional approach to that. We'll talk more about that later. And we'll keep working on upgrading our website, more on exposure on social media. And we've done a fair amount of customer service training with our employees, and we'll keep going. So we've done really, I feel we've done a really good job. It was a little bit critical at the beginning. I think it's because of that fire incident. We realized we've done a little bit better. Okay, so that is that one. Any questions or comments?
Anybody in the audience? We're going to have a class quiz after. We're going to hand out candy for what's in the right
At tomorrow's 18, we'll have an exam. All right, priority 10. This one is in progress, and we're going to move on from that one if the board so agrees. That's to resolve all outstanding Sutter County Airport land use issues. I don't think we'll ever solve all those issues, but we have more clarity. We were able to identify for the board the actual acreage, who owns what the history has been, and why and how did we get to where we are with the FAA. And we're striving to obtain land releases for a variety of properties that the county has facilities on. And the only way to do that is you buy it at its appraised value or you pay rent payments. So we're going to kind of wait and see on this situation and just move forward. Yeah, no further action is necessary this time. Okay. So on the last page, you just do the map of 10 priorities. 6 or 60% fall under completed or completed and in progress, and 4 or 40% were just in progress. I think the main point here is we didn't neglect any of these. We did our level best on them. Could we have done better? Yes, but that's the point of having priorities. Have lofty priorities, aim high, do the best you can with them.
So you were in college, you got 60%, I can tell.
We play on a curve, I was going to say that. Now in baseball, Mr. Whitaker, you bat 600% better than all fans. You know, we could have structured this, I could have told you we were about 90% down there, you know, we could have structured it anyway. The reality is we made a lot of progress, and I'm proud of these men and women here for their leadership, and we've delivered on much of the stuff that's in front of you. Could we have done better? Sure. But remember, with management by objectives, this can't be the live-all, be-all. You give us these top 10 things, you know, stuff happens, right? You've had a lot of drama as an organization. Stuff happens, you get distracted. You have fires, you have high water events, you have unexpected retirements or whatever. But to be progressive and to be a high-performance organization, to do better, you've got to have some objectives and standards, and priorities. That's why we do this. And then you hold me accountable, you do my annual review, and I hold the department heads accountable as we do theirs through these priorities and goals. So that's the report card. So I guess the goal next year will come back and be 65% or higher. We'll work hard.
So I can tell you right now, it's going to be a lot higher because we're only doing top 5 priorities.
That's right. Yeah.
Not even top 10.
Yeah,
Don't worry about that. I'm pretty sure you're going to be 100%.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
And remember, these are your priorities. You have to be comfortable. So now we're going to shift and talk about the next fiscal year.
Before we move on, though, I would like to make a couple comments. I would just say first things for that report, percentage-wise, always brief, of course, but I do want to commend all the people here for your involvement in getting these goals and priorities together, especially over the last year, over the last several years that you've worked here. We couldn't do without the employees and you guys. You guys are the ones who make it happen. And I just want to take a moment. We don't do that enough, and we need to do that. I really want to recognize the hard work that you do, and thank you for taking the direction and moving things forward and making things work out, because you're the ones who have to make it happen every day. We sit up here and work with you on the goals, but you're the ones who make it happen. So I just want to say thank you for that. Maybe board, we do a round of applause for it's so weird being so close to you. I was on a good job doing my yeah, that's right. No apologies. Okay. Anyway, I just want to take that moment. I really appreciate the work you do. There's always the drama and things going on in the county. We hear all the different things, but at the end of the day, you're driving towards those goals and making it work. And things are really happening in a very positive direction. It's great to see. That's my name.
We really appreciate that. Thank you.
Can we leave now? No.
So we gave you the report card, and that was the focus on staff, so now we're going to shift back to focus on the board. So the 5 of you were asked to submit your top priorities would be for the current fiscal year that just started. And then there was a variety of them. So this document was hard to read on the screen there, but what's in front of you, I tried to list literally everything you had stated. So when you see there's 7 of them, and then what happened is these 7 fell in 7 categories: from leadership, budget finance, facilities, homelessness, Sutter Point, civic engagement, general plan. So I tried to put it out there and make sure we included everything that we listed. So I'll go from top to bottom, and these reflect by number of votes, if you will. So leadership, all 5 of you have listed specific things that deal with leadership vision, from setting efficiency goals in terms of staffing levels, to the use of dashboards to include expectations and outcomes, succession planning, filling vacant department head positions, creating a vision for the county, develop an organizational strategic plan, develop a mission statement, improve the relationship with you, the city, develop a cohesive executive team, and cooperation between departments. That all, generally speaking, falls under the leadership category. The next category, number 2, is budget/finance, and listed things such as achieve a strategically balanced budget, develop a long-term financial strategic plan, including approach to managing long-term pension and health insurance obligations, financial stability, unfunded pension liability, find a solution to unfunded liability, cut the budget by 5%, no cuts to health, welfare, fire, and sheriff, reduce the overall budget by 5 to 10%, return to the 5-day work week for office hours, in other words, eliminate the 980 program and 410 program, increase public safety salaries, keep Sutter County fiscally sound, develop a comprehensive plan to increase general fund reserves, Sutter County negotiations, privatize services where possible, work with Yuba City on improving the master tax exchange agreement, set up a joint revenue measure for the city/county in 2020, and set up a centralized finance department. There was a lot there, but all 5 of you weighed in on those issues, and we felt that would fall under budget finance. The third item is facilities. So 4 of the 5 that we listed priorities dealing with facilities, ranging from complete the countywide facilities master plan, consolidate city departments into fewer locations, get 850 Gray Avenue up and running, remove square footage to add new square footage. I like that. Get rid of old buildings that cost too much. And there were some other comments. Next category, number 4, 3 of you commented specifically on homelessness. Do you want to make any comments on any of the above ones? Okay. So homelessness, here's some of the comments you had. Implement long-term homeless management plan, no general fund impacts, reduce the number of homeless, and continue to develop long-term solutions. The 5th category, which received 2 comments, involved Sutter Point specific plan. One of you wrote, begin construction. Another, move forward on the Sutter Point commercial and industrial development at the same time as residential. Then items 6 and 7, one dealt with civic engagement, continue to remind voters why they need to know their supervisor and county interest. One dealing with general plan update in the process. So then the question is, all right, how do you go from there?
Just if there's any comments,
Okay.
comments regarding that portion.
For me, I think it's important that people know exactly what my top 5 were. Because I think for the organization, for me, it's important that when we're looking at the organization as a whole, that we take care of the needs of the organization first, and then we go with the outside interests of the public. So I will tell you my top 5 priorities. For me, was my first priority was Sutter County employee negotiations. We don't take care of our employees, all right? And Supervisor Munger can attest to this as well. Then we lose employees to other counties. We will become a training ground for other counties. And that's something I just don't want to do. I don't want to go back to the days of the sheriff coming in and saying, you can't fill 12 deputy sheriff positions because, our salaries and benefits are not comparable to what other counties are receiving. So it's important that we take care of our employees and our units and making sure that they are fairly compensated and that we can attain quality employees. So that was my first top 5 priority. My second one is to obviously develop an organizational strategic plan, emphasis on mission statement, discuss that enough. Warrants any other further discussion. Third was to work to develop a comprehensive plan to increase the Sutter County general fund reserves. And obviously, you folks know that healthy reserves and a healthy budget means that we offer, we're able to offer different programs. And so, but right now, it always seems like we're status quo. And we have to be able to find ways, innovative ways, and what those are is input from you to find ways that we can grow as a county and increase those general fund reserves. So we have money in our coffers to do certain programs and go outside and create innovative projects and make new things within the community. Number 4 is to complete the consolidation of health and human services in the Gray Avenue facility. I mean, Neil pretty much touched on this as much as that, we have to consolidate different departments and look, and obviously that Gray Avenue facility will accommodate a big portion of that. That has got to be a priority for this county to get that done. And then work on other avenues of consolidating different departments as well. My 5th is just to work with the city of Yuba City on improving the master tax change agreement. I think that the city of Yuba City is receptive to doing this stuff, but I think that we have to sit down at the table with our counterparts and work together as they go through future annexations to make sure that we are at the table and that we are supported not only in the city but the county and city working together to make that happen. That was my top 5 priorities.
Thank you, Supervisor. Appreciate that. Any further comments? What's that? All right.
Okay, so then the question is, how do you go from that to having a set of top priorities? I also did ask the department heads to submit what they would consider to be their top priorities without seeing anything from the board, and fairly in line. They had some other suggestions that were really dynamite. So what I did is, okay, the board's made it clear with these first 5, these are your priority areas. So we're going to have 5: leadership, budget finance, facilities, homelessness, and Sutter Point. So if you go to the next page, no. So right here, this is what we're recommending for a starting point for your discussion. That helps. So under leadership, here's the suggested language. Complete long-term organization, strategic plan for the organization. Complete employee succession plan, strengthen executive team, improve employee morale, and develop formal performance benchmarks, dashboard metrics. At this point, I asked the board, what do you think of that? Should we, you want me to go through all these and come back, or do you want to?
Sure. Yeah, I think it's better if you.
Okay, then you get the bigger picture and decide what you want to do. Fair enough, thank you. So under budget finance, it would read as follows. Select consultant to prepare long-term financial strategic plan. You know what? Why don't I strike select consultant, because that's kind of redundant. You can just say prepare long-term financial strategic plan, including a plan to achieve a structurally balanced general fund budget, prepare GFOA and CSMFO award-winning fiscal year 1920 countywide operating and capital improvement plan budget documents, complete review and convert to a biennial 2-year budget process, prepare a comprehensive annual financial report for fiscal year 18-19, and provide semi-annual pension and OPEB liability reports. 3, under facilities, let's take out hire consulting and just simply start with complete countywide facilities master plan, resolve ownership issue, and complete architectural design of 850 Gray Avenue. Complete jail expansion project and work with other Yuba Sutter local governments to develop a proposal to consolidate public safety dispatch. On that one, several of you keep mentioning the dispatch issue, so I want to be respectful to that and not neglect that unless you direct us to. And there's mixed, as we said in the report card, some agencies are supportive of this, some aren't. So there's a mixed review on that, or mixed bag out there. But we recommended you wait until the new sheriff, or both the 2 new sheriffs come on board in January, and then see what their interest is, and go forward from there if there is the interest to do that. Okay, then moving forward from that, number 4, homelessness. Implement long-term homeless management plan. Decide location, configuration, and initial services associated with a temporary shelter facility, and work with other Yuba Sutter agencies to develop a permanent long-term shelter. 5th, the Sutter Point specific plan item. Continue to work with property owners and developers to process residential, industrial, and commercial development applications. Hire an outside counsel, so you know, or consultant. Let's strike that and just simply write, prepare comprehensive financial, environmental, and public infrastructure analysis to ensure quality development takes place, and work with applicable outside agencies as part of the due diligence process. I did take out the reference to consultants. It's not necessary. You just have to do that task and how we get your letters in-house for consultants. We'll deal with that.
Okay.
So what do you think, and how do you want to make revisions?
Getting the U team? No, it's
What I did is several of these department heads provided their list, and then I incorporated their suggestions in with yours, but we're not overriding. These are your priorities.
This is input from both.
Yes. For sure.
No, I was saying that, how come, we didn't put the numbers behind each one of, staff proposals?
Well, they're your priorities.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
These are our priorities, or these are E-team priorities?
Well, these are the board's priorities.
The E-team have been put on giving priorities.
They did.
This is it?
No, what we did is we took the priorities that came from the board, and then I incorporated the applicable ones from the E team that tied into the ones that you said are your priorities. They had other things out there that are not part of this.
Yeah. And that's why it wasn't separate.
And it's board's prerogative how you want to get to your priorities.
I understand that these are the top 5 of the board's priorities. As an organization, though, I would just like to see and have total buy-in. I'd like to see the E-team's priorities.
Okay.
Are they fluid, Scott, or different?
They're incorporated, but they're not. It's not 100%.
Okay, you don't have to do it right now.
Right.
It said at a certain time.
Right. Yeah. I can share with you. What I can do is a separate follow-up. Because I can have a list. You can see
You
them all.
don't have to have a separate meeting for this. If you can send it to it.
Absolutely.
Or just say, give it the E-team's priorities.
I'll do that.
You said that most, they're pretty much in alignment, but it would be.
Yeah, there, for example, I will not to pick on anybody, but your museum director and library director had some suggestions that aren't on here, but they're very good. That may involve sort of their stuff. But what I could do is, I think it'd be excellent so you can see. I'll just delineate them all without saying who what, and then you'll see that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And if I can interject on that, just because items don't work their way on here, they're still priority for us to implement.
Yeah, but I think it's a good, very good suggestion, but that way we can also see the priorities from the E team that they're looking at all together. Yeah, incorporate a lot, but it'd be always good for us to see the whole list.
I'm happy to do that, and happy to do that.
Comments, any suggestions, comments?
I think it's incorporated, it just what our department heads are thinking, if they're the same line, if there's something we're missing, we'll have to see if we're missing something, but thanks to them all. We're doing it, we might as well do it and make sure we're incorporate it all.
Yeah. Okay. Here, you go, Soldier, any comments?
No, I just agree that many hands make life work, as they say, but again, the more input we can get on some of these difficult management decisions involved, especially in the world of finances, I'm sure Mr. Mitnick will tell you, it's nice to have goals and say we want to do this. The financial constraints perhaps limit that, so it's good so that everyone understands that we're not always talking from a real black checkbook. Occasionally the checkbook is borderline red.
And I'd like to, I think it's safe to say, because you have to come up with your top 5, top 10, or whatever the number is, what the department heads have suggested, they are incorporated in this.
Okay.
Remember, we're very limited to the number and space, so if we would grow this list back to having 10 or more, think I know what you have in front of you reflects the very top priorities of the organization. And then when we come back for adoption of that formally, we have to have a list of what the department heads can help with, so you can see that at the same time.
I think you hit the nail on the head, it's like, even though it does make a list, it doesn't mean it's not a priority.
Right.
For the organization.
Yeah.
Just like you give the example of your library and museum, I want to make sure that as a board that we get to see those.
Right.
Because, when we're looking at different things that, funding, and those come up, it's like, hey, wait, this was a priority. Back in 20 years ago.
Right.
The funding stuff, so.
Right. Like, for example, some of them are making better use of technology. A lot of these roll right in, actually. A lot of them really roll in, but I want to be fair to the men and women here. I'm not going to say 100% what they recommended is in there, but they're very close. I think one of Jessica's was to incorporate what other departments are doing as it relates to museum, library, like past parks, promoting quality of life issues. Obviously, those are important. Very important. So I think we can achieve both of the objectives when we do our report back to you. We'll see all the results.
So, I have a couple of comments there. First of all, it was pretty good being able to move those over, because I was looking at this list at first, 7, thinking, oh my gosh, how do you get all of those into 5 priorities? But I think that's a good method to take, 5 major categories and then place subcategories under, and I think they're more achievable than saying, hey, here's a specific priority that's really hard to tackle. My question is more on execution, because I want to come back and get 100%. I don't want to come back and get those 60%, right? So yes, a little bit. But we want to come back with a high grade next year. And one suggestion I'd have is, and this comes from working with another board that you might be familiar with. I sit on the Sutter Health Board, which has 75,000 employees and massive amounts of assets and things. But one of the things they do very effectively is that they have their sets of goals and priorities in place, and they have an executive committee. So like if you took number 1, the leadership, and under executive committee is typically made up of the CAO, in our case possibly legal counsel, and a couple of supervisors, it could be anybody, and then maybe a couple of other leaders on the executive team that would help assure that we proceed, especially with that category. A lot of these things, if you look at them, they were carry on from, these were some of the ones that weren't completed, like dashboard objectives and things like that. So if we had an executive committee, I don't know if the board would be interested in having something like that, but I think it would be really helpful in making sure that we're proceeding so that we don't show up next year and say, hey, we missed out on that. Instead, we're proceeding together, and we can see that. And the other is in the area of the budget and finance. And I know we've talked about this in the past too, in the consideration of actually setting up a budget finance committee. So again, this would be a couple of members of the board and then financial leaders, financial officers from the county who would then meet and go over, because you have some very tough priorities coming with the CAFR, the budget issues, the employees, all of this stuff that could be incorporated within budget and finance, but having it without some sort of committee oversight, the opportunity to actually accomplish this is going to be really challenging without bringing it back and say, hey, this committee is going to be responsible to make sure that these objectives are met. So I don't know how the board feels about it, but those two, I know we have a lot of committees already, but these are like really critical to the operations of any organization or business. And again, I'm just using my experience with a much larger organization that it's very, very effective in terms of getting communication through and meeting objectives, because we can set those objectives. Those are just a couple suggestions. But I like the way you wrapped it into this thing.
Would you like to, from a staff perspective, that'd be great, because it would be a good sounding board for us. Make
I
sure
don't know
all
how
our
to
work.
work with those.
Okay. So I could incorporate that in at the end of both of those, establish and begin using executive committee and the budget finance committee, or work with the clerk's office to set that up the correct way.
Yeah, that would be great. I think it will really help with the execution and implementation of a lot of these things, so we're not going back later to get this done. So.
Okay.
clear. I would, I guess humbly request that you consider trying to strike and reduce some of the items, because I'll say for 5 priorities, this probably seems closer to about 30 action items. And I'll say, at least speaking for myself, maybe for some of the other department heads, I think that probably as department heads, we probably spend about 75% of our time roughly maybe just being department heads and running our departments and taking care of the normal course of the business. And I look at all these things as extras. And I'll say personally for my departments, I don't have 25% time available to accomplish the items that would be on my list. I'd really like to see you take some consideration, maybe strike some of those things. I think also some of the things I'd make you aware of is that some of the items up there regarding facilities and homelessness, as you're probably fully aware, are going to can take and require a fairly serious financial investment fairly soon. And if the investment's not made, we won't make June 30th of next year. So I guess I would, I just want you to be aware of that,
Can you make a suggestion? Let's say on item number 3, which you would strike.
I'd say resolving the ownership issues for 850 Gray is unlikely. The architectural design you'll probably get, and the countywide facility master plan will certainly could be close to completion. It'll be dependent on the speed, but you have to understand, like the cost of that contract is going to cost $300,000 to $500,000 for the architect, and that'll come to you in September 25th. And that's why, and that will be, general fund.
But so potentially it could be stricken at that point, right?
It could be, yeah. I mean, I guess it's a matter of either there's always an ongoing list that can be evaluated and considered, but the jail expansion project is going to complete, but as you know, there are going to be some sizable change orders coming before your board in the next month. That's going to require general fund dollars.
Okay.
And I guess, there's unfortunately just things associated with facilities, homelessness will be considerable. The items related to the Sutter's Point specific plan, certainly we're going to be able to hire consultants, and I guess a large percentage of that can be reimbursed by the developers. But I guess some of my challenges is that the priorities are very general and broad and not specific. And I think when they're not specific, it makes it very hard to deem whether or not you have completed the action.
So if we could just refer back to item number 3 again, can you tell me what could be more specific?
Why don't we just make it more specific on just
Yeah, and
doing 850 Great Avenue and your jail expansion?
Well,
And that would be
I
great.
can interject, just for clarity, it's a good
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, it is.
Neil's part.
Yeah, thank you.
Remember, we'll take Sutter Point. Because that item is here and talks about continuing work, it doesn't mean we build all the homes out there, but we're looking at what are we going to do in this 1-year time frame to help move this project forward. So we're going to complete what we're supposed to do over 1 year. And the same for these other projects with respect to the facilities. We will complete a facilities master plan. We will get that done during the year. The ownership issue, we are working on that. Are we going to purchase that property, or are we going to stay with the lease? I'm fairly confident we'll resolve that in the next 12 months.
So, but Neil doesn't feel the same confidence, so instead of resolving, maybe we continue to work on the ownership process? Neil?
I guess it's a matter of, the wording that you feel appropriate, because if you're looking for a higher sense of completion by, say, June 30th of next year, I think it would be more helpful to have more finite words with more finite tasks. The complete the architectural design of 850 Gray, yes. I guess realize that there's about 4 opportunities at 850 Gray as to what the final, what the design may look like.
I know what you're talking about.
And those will be, so I think that would be, and complete the jail expansion project. The other items, I guess I would say are some of the things that are going to happen anyway and in support. And a lot of these actions are tied to each other, that they have an impact on if other parts of the project or other items on the list can proceed. And that timing of all the things is somewhat critical.
So, I'm okay if you want to go down the list one by one. that's fine with me. So
Okay.
maybe you want to start with number 3 again and say, so hire a consultant, can we get that done in the next year?
Yeah, so hire a consultant for the countywide facility master plan.
Okay, great. And then resolve ownership issues, we're saying no.
Just complete the architectural design of 850 grade.
Okay, are you guys good with striking, resolving the ownership issues as a priority on this list?
I'm sure the CEO will be working on the.
Yeah, we're gonna-
Or, to move it in there.
We're gonna deliver that anyhow.
Yeah.
Or work to resolve?
No, just take it off, right? Just
Just
go to complete architectural design.
Okay, then, complete architectural design, okay, good. And then complete jail expansion? Oh, that's great. Okay, that's 3. And then, work with governments to develop a proposal to consolidate public safety dispatch.
I delete it.
Delete it.
You guys
My
are-
my opinion.
We're gonna have.
It is a process to come up.
Let me tell you why it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen because, I was board raised with the former sheriff, and he told me a long time ago, he says, they tried to do it before, and it didn't work. Everybody wants to, you have to understand that when you consolidate, you lose staff, okay? And so,
Nobody wants to lose staff.
nobody wants to lose staff, plus the fact of the matter is that our system is not compatible with other counties or cities' systems. So they would have to go and change everybody's system so that you can have one compatible.
Fair enough. Well, so I think the board's okay with striking that as a major goal.
Done.
Comment?
Well, I didn't know if we can continue to go through these if you'd like, in a way that's what part of this meeting is for, or for the sake of time, we can take this list to the E-team and come back with some recommendations as well. Either way, I'm sorry.
I like to finish the line item because it's short, it's not very long.
Yeah.
And then this way we can leave, because I don't want anyone to go away, especially this group, with the sense of like, these guys are nuts, and they can tell them we're gonna have all this stuff we have to do, and then wanting it 100% done, and then come back and say, well, it's not gonna happen. So, I mean, I'd rather, let's say, hey, let's achieve the goals, and then we meet some achievable
So
goals.
set the bar too high, we were 60%, right?
We need to set the bar a little higher than normal.
I have a question to the chair. Just because we put it on here as a goal, it doesn't mean some of these goals may be many years of objectives.
Yes.
It may not be 1 year. Maybe we should be strive to work for it.
Yes.
Or something like that we can put on there, not to accomplish like the 850 grade. You may not have that done for 3 years.
Right.
Well, that's why it's just the architectural design.
But I mean, actually, if you decide you want to try to look at long-term ownership.
But I think Scott addressed that early on. He said there's hundreds of priorities.
Right.
We're just deciding right now, so what direction we want to go for the next 12 months.
But if you don't set that as an objective for the long haul, are you ever going to get there?
Well, we'll get there.
Well, it's there.
Wait,
It's
the other
not- This isn't
mechanisms-
going away just because Neil doesn't want it on this list. It's just, yeah.
Well, we did it through the budget process, through the program descriptions and CIP, we list all kinds of projects. Now, these are your top ones that we're gonna focus on. So let me read what I think I heard.
A temporary employee making breathing.
They're just ignoring
Wants to speak? Yes.
Well, I just wanted to echo what Neil was saying, and I think one of the things that you might add to that facilities portion is establish a financial commitment to those specific projects, because we can work towards a project and we come to you with a $30 million project and you say, there is no way we can do that. So I think that we have to establish that financial commitment to those projects
Good.
as part of that
That's fine, yeah.
facilities one.
And that'll come with the facilities master plan.
Right.
That'll be articulated.
Okay, yeah, I think that's, you guys good with that?
So how about I read what will be the revised facilities, item number 3?
Yeah.
Short. Complete complete countywide facilities master plan, complete architectural design of 850 Gray Avenue, complete jail expansion project. That's it.
Okay, very good. Good.
In order to make sure that we get 100%, we'll have no control on item number 2, is whether or not our GFOA and CSFM oh, countywide operating plans are award-winning, and we have to be responsible.
Well, the goal is to get it to, you know,
I know we want it to be awesome, but, you know, if it's awesome and it doesn't win, we're not gonna get 100%.
I know, but what I would say is, from a management, motivational standpoint, we need to have targets.
Warren, do you have a comment?
Well, just from a procedural standpoint, these were the 5 top priorities. Did the board agree and say, yes, we adopt these, and we're giving you direction, and now we're going through them? I'm not sure.
Not yet.
Okay, got it.
That's what
So
we're
you want to
doing.
go through the process first, and then make that?
Right, yeah. So
Okay.
what we had done so far, each of us wrote our own 5 priorities, and then they incorporated within this document. And it looks like all of them were incorporated, but just under 5 categories instead.
Okay.
We haven't adopted this. So, I mean, it is good, even after this, that if you do take it back to the E-team and there is further input or editing, that
Yeah.
we're willing to look at that, the staff proposal to adopt it, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So anything on the homelessness side? You know, I just want to correct, because I know a lot of this falls right under your purview, so.
I think the design, location, and configuration, and initial services for the temporary shelter, I think is a great idea, and I think we should be able to get there, but it'll take quite the commitment.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna happen all this year.
I would also tell you probably need to start happening. And I guess that's the thing, I think maybe my point is that I think some things maybe there's not enough of a push to make happen. Is that I think if we get to where we respectfully, if we bring, the best alternative to you,
Right.
then I guess it's a matter of either this is the best alternative and this is our opportunity to meet the goal and the priority, or then that's it. But what I will tell you that this takes staff a lot of time is that when we bring something forward, I'll say not only homeless, but a number of other issues, and then it's kind of like, well, let's go and retry something else, and kind of. I guess I'll say it. Either we need to have better dialogue going forward so that we bring to you either more of what you're looking for or one time, because like I say, the time, one, the amount of time to bring something to you, and then 2, the time to regroup, and then,
If only government would work that way. That'd be so amazing. Can you imagine what they say at the federal and state levels? But I think, maybe we're gonna have a discussion on our norms and possibly one of those things going forward, because I kind of hear what you're saying, but a lot of it is, a lot of transparency and discussion during the process, rather than coming back at the end going, here's a document, by the way, it's gonna cost you an extra $2 million because we forgot to put the air conditioner in the jail.
right.
So, I mean, those kind of surprises are like shocking to the board of supervisors. You have to figure out, eventually who's gonna get cut, not budgets, and it makes it really challenging. So to your point, working to eliminate surprises through transparent discussions and possibly through the use of that finance executive committee format may be helpful. But I think to say, okay, we're going to end the politics of the situation, that would just be amazing. But I don't think that will ever occur. But we'll work towards it, right? With the commitment. There you go. So, good. Is there anything else on that number? Okay, what about number 5?
No, I guess I was actually going to throw
Anybody
it.
else do you think?
I was going to actually throw in a comment about number 1 as far as improving employee morale. I thought maybe it might be more helpful maybe to identify the employee morale. I mean, I will say personally, I think I have great morale in my department. And I guess there's always some sense that not everyone is always going to be happy about their situation. So I guess it's whether it's a perceived notion that employee morale is not where it needs to be. But I think if we were to take just to do it correctly, if we spend some time just trying to identify where we think the morale is, relative to either other agencies, other business sectors, just a suggestion.
So was that one of yours for?
No, but Neil, perhaps you could go to the district attorney's office and help him down there a little bit.
Mr. Chair, we did have some department heads who listed employee morale as important.
Oh, that came from the department.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay. We'll take it, but, you know, those are always tough ones for me because I can't put a measurable, like, what's the measurable result on it? And so, how do you know, everyone says good morning and you're all happy, it's like, but how do you really know?
Can I
Yes.
say something on that note? And
Yes.
This might seem counterintuitive because I think I am maybe the smallest department in county. No, the public defender.
How's your morale?
Department.
Talk to yourself.
No, the reason, I just wanted to say something about that because since I don't have a finance staff, I don't have an administrator, I don't have an assistant, there's two of us who work full-time in the museum. And so for me, when I'm working with other departments often, I'm not only working with the other department heads, I'm working with people at all different levels. And I'm not going to mention any department or any employee by name, but I can tell you a lot of people I talk to, they see, well, like that employee brought up in the board of supervisors meeting the other day, they see renovations on buildings and they see big plans for department heads and they don't see anything happening at their level, and it is very frustrating for them. They do hear you guys say often that employees are very important, that you want to do more for them, but they don't see it. So I just wanted to share that from my point of view,
Sure.
because I think I do have a different insight than a lot of other department heads because of my lack of levels in my own department. I get to meet a lot of other employees on all different levels.
Okay, so then it sounds like it improved employee morale, we need to leave in there, but define better. And I would say again, that there's an opportunity to do that through the leadership, through the executive committee, through your meetings to say, hey, here's the perception, right? So, I mean, we can't understand perception until we realize what it is, and then we're told what it is, right? And so right now you just brought up something, I'm like thinking to myself, I never even thought about that, right? So it's exactly how we have to, first we have to identify those issues, then it goes through the CAO's office, through this process where we can look at it and say, okay, we do want to leave that on here as a goal because it is an issue that's affecting you. And now we have to define how it's affecting you, and we got to say, okay, how can we get back to addressing the issue to make sure that that doesn't occur or that we minimize the occurrence of that, so the morale does stay high, right?
Through the chair.
Yes, sir.
And I'll also say, as you as department head and elected officials, you know your departments pretty well. You know the employees very well. You know when they are having issues at home. You know when they're having certain situations that we don't see, obviously, because we're not micromanaging voices, but we are allow you to manage your own department. And so, in that regard, I think that morale in this county in certain departments might be a little bit low. I will not say that the district attorney's office is low. I would say that the district attorney's office actually has a pretty good morale. And in general, I think all departments have pretty good morale in this county. But like I said, there might be some other departments that we need to strengthen, and so I think that's why we leave it up.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? Is that helpful? We did that, but we need to show love and appreciation. But it's all about how we understand what's going on. Thanks.
And, Mr. Chair, members of the board, and as we do the employee succession plan and the organizational strategic plan for HR purposes, that will touch on employee morale. That's a big component of that. How can we be more compassionate and successful agents?
Yeah, but this is really good feedback, very helpful.
Yeah.
So I think we kind of narrowed it down. Anything else from other departments?
I guess the only other comment I'll make is as far as budget and finance, is that certainly you have appointed department heads that are here, but some of them are involved elected department heads and they're not present. And a lot of this is going to be critical of them to perform their role in order to achieve some of these goals.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think, and to address part of that, part of the idea behind the budget finance committee too, sort of bring people together towards this goal, so there's that continuous discussion. But very good points. Thanks for your points. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So we will come back. Well, we're not done with the whole thing, but we will come back to the board with those recommendations. what priorities as addressed. Because now I hand it over to Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, for
Before
sure.
we get out of that thing, back on the, your countywide goals, maintaining a strong commitment to public safety. As the president of the Sutter County Professional Firefighters Association, we are going to be in some serious issues in the upcoming budgets. And I'd like to see something, publicly talked about as far as long-term financing or funding for it. I mean, 2 of our 3 stations are staffed with 1 on duty. 2/3 of our first out equipment is out of service permanently. The one that's left is 28 years old. 2 of our 4 wildland agents are 28 and 40 years old. We are going after a grant for staffing for a firefighter's position that after January 1st is going to be $1.12 over minimum wage. But we have some huge problems. I appreciate Mr. Whitaker talking about working on some funding to increase the salaries because of another training. I've lost over 1/3 of my department for the neighboring departments. We're spending thousands of dollars training them, getting them up to right to probation, and they're gone. They're not only leaving for large salary increases, but they're leaving for staffing and brand new fire apparatus. Our trucks are older than some of the drivers that are driving them. And that's I believe that our employees deserve better, and I think our citizens demand it. So I'd like to see that be brought up as a priority when we start thinking about that.
To the chair.
Yes.
So, tell me, when's the last time the fire service had a benefit assessment?
The original was passed in, I believe, 1990. The second one was passed in 1996. It's a flat tax with no inflation.
So obviously since 1996, we have not had an increase in the benefit assessment.
Correct.
So don't you think it behooves us in this time maybe to go back out to the public and say, hey, these men and women who, come out and provide this excellent service for the county, it might be time for the county to get behind it and have you do a benefit assessment. Now, obviously, I've talked to Chief Shalowitz before the meeting, and I think he's been actually involved in it.
We had some great discussions. I think that our woes are sooner than that could, be funded, even if in a perfect world. Prime example, the fire truck that's sitting at Live Oak right now was purchased for around $240,000. That fire truck's getting replaced by the city of Live Oak this year at $549,000 with no budget change. So, things have went up and the dollar's the same dollar.
So definitely hear you, your concerns.
Yeah, thanks for your input.
Yes.
It's going to take a little effort between all those departments to go back out because we're flat. There has not been an escalator on that particular map. So everything's gone up, trucks, gas, fuel, insurance. And I think by putting out a good campaign out there, I'm going to have a problem.
We've lost some great employees.
That lot is going to have to be done, we're going to have to get somebody to do a study of what it costs now for their insurance and how much maybe we're paying the mortgage if you don't have the employees to what we would have to staff.
Through the chair, because I couldn't agree more. We've got to raise that benefit assessment. We have to help you out with this. A fire truck that in 1990 cost probably $150,000 to $200,000 now on a manhole. And, an employee's wage is the same thing. Everything's gone up, but that's the thing to say, you can't solve that.
The whole call for service has changed in my career immensely. We're busier than we ever have, a little more with less equipment, less staffing. So yes, we have to do something.
And more medical aid calls now today than we had 90.
Even more non-emergency calls, not even
Right.
the ones that are actually life-threatening. It's just socially they're demanding more services. And I think that's not just our share, but I think that's across the board for every department.
That's everywhere.
I think that's just where things have changed. So yes, it's we've done a great job of doing the best with the same dollar for a long, long time. And I commend our previous chiefs and our boards. We've done a great job. It's just it's not working anymore.
I also think that if you would allow the public to know what they can save on their insurance by getting a higher rating, I think they'd be willing to fund it too.
Correct, yeah, because our ISO ratings have went from, some of the departments have lost numbers, that increases your insurance company, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for your input. Any further discussion on that? Yeah, and do you want to?
Well, just, the issue of how you fund the fire department will be covered through the financial strategic plan as well.
Committee as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we'll turn it over to Mr. Lopez to talk about board norms.
Well, first off, I want to just acknowledge your biggest step last year for the Board of Supervisors to decide that they wanted not only a set of norms, but we had discussion and we began to talk about how you were going to operate with these norms. Can you see them all?
Yes.
Okay, so the key piece, though, is to recognize that what norms do, obviously in a very potential contentious political environment, is they offer a way to set the tone. And that's important from a leadership perspective when you think about how can you set the tone, and hopefully that continues to build not only within the county, but outside. And so what I'd like to do in looking at these is first ask you, how do you think you did? I don't want to say it's a report card, but it's a report card. So if you were to give yourself a grade, thank you, Jim, that was a good idea. What grade would you give yourself in terms of following these 5 norms during the course of the year?
As a group or individual?
We should
That's a moment of truth right there. That's a moment of truth. Well, let's start off collectively.
comments.
I think we can approve on all 5 of them. I didn't say we've done terrible, but we could have worked.
I think we've done better. I've seen worse boards.
I didn't say it was that bad, Larry. I just said we could
No,
approve.
I've seen supervisors we didn't even want to talk to, because the fact is that you talk about something in your district, they're in the middle of your district and undermining what you're doing. That I'd say we've got good interview.
You're a great-
There's always room to improve.
Okay.
I think from my perspective, for the most part, looking at each of those, we had years in most of it. And I think this has been a really great board to work with. Really, I've had a lot of different board experience, and this board is good. Just like Larry said, there are boards where people don't talk to each other at all, right?
Right.
And everybody on this board is willing to speak and speak their mind, which I think is really important from a board perspective. I think the thing for us to always consider though is like when we make these commitments, that we really make an effort to stick to them. Like, I haven't visited this for I don't know how many months, right? So we should continually sort of look at what norms we decided on. And then maybe even, I don't know if this becomes a norm, but hold each other more accountable to those norms. So make it, instead of like joking about it, saying, oh, wow, you were speaking negatively about somebody, say, well, hey, we did have a norm we agreed upon, so do you mind, refraining from number 3, right? And I think that would be helpful, but I think also it's important for us to have norms because we as leaders, we have to work in an established fashion that people can recognize, that we can see that, and we can share that with others, and they can, it's leading by example that way and showing those kinds of norms. So, but I think most of all, I irritated a lot of those.
In talking with each of you, I asked the question, and I heard from you all that you felt pretty good about the norms and thought that you related to each other following the norms, whether you used them or pulled them out, but in terms of being respectful, that you felt like it helped the group function more effectively. And so I didn't hear any negatives from each of you about any violation of the norm. So I just thought I'd ask you, but I heard individually pretty good comments. So the question then is, as you look at these norms, do you want to keep them going into the next year? Do you want to remove any, or do you want to add any? So first, do you want to keep norms, these norms as you go on to the next year?
I would say yes. I mean, they seem to be working, so, you know, and like I said, it's good to go back and make sure that we are following these norms. And if we're not, then at least we say, hey, we voted on it, making sure that we're respectful and that we are professional.
I think we should keep them, this gives a framework for, it's like, who's looking in my position. But down the road, you can set the goals and make it, you know, see, this is the way we operate. And, you know, not on your own, but you do cooperate with each other. You do have disagreements, but you still can go out and maybe have a breakdown.
So I'm hearing for the most part that the group wants to continue the norms?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to take any one of these off? Or you're happy with all 5? Okay. Do you want to add any norms to this? Any new norm? So is there anything missing that you think about?
Turn the audience.
You know, I was going to say, is anybody out there?
What was that?
You're going to see this in action.
Maybe staff or
Oh, do you want to add a norm for them?
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Yeah.
I think two and three almost tie together to kind of collapse it.
They're similar.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I would take out maybe staff, because it does cover that. But the thought is, and it doesn't happen here, but I've seen it happen in other places where I work, it can get ugly during campaign season. So that's why it's really critical that you're paying attention to how you want to operate during campaigns. You haven't done it, but I've been in places where it's really ugly, and it has a negative impact on you, on the body for a long period of time. So we could probably adapt that language, but I think that's a good one for the group. Do you have other ideas? Okay. So then going forward, we'll make an adjustment for editorial to 3, and then we'll keep those 5, and those will be the norms going forward. Okay? Anything else?
Just, well, you know, thinking about it like over the past couple of years, how you are hot, like, you know, we make comments just sort of being positive in public towards, not that we have to, you know, cater to each other, but be
Right.
positive instead of being overly critical or snide, I guess, in remarks and things like that. I don't know how to do that.
How about levels of quorum?
I guess it goes under professionalism, though.
Yeah.
Fits under that.
Those comments are just done.
Yeah.
What's it?
Don't make comments that are, no? Is that what
I just said stupid.
Whatever
Stupid.
comments you guys just made were just done.
Yeah. This is awesome.
I think they're fine, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well,
That was.
so sweet.
Yeah.
All right, then I'll turn it over back to Scott. I appreciate that you asked the staff to put one on the table. That was pretty good.
So I want to clarify, were there revisions to number 3 or not?
Yeah.
I think there was some question about redundancy between 2 and 3.
Right.
But if in 3, we just take out staff, because they'll do that in number 2, it holds steady in terms of how they relate to one another.
Okay, one's in public, one's in
Yeah.
public. So the word staff is removed?
Yes. As I understand it, is that
Is
correct?
that right? You want the word staff? So you can beat up on us in public and that's
Number
okay.
2, so I guess we got to have it number 3.
Okay. I guess, I mean, yeah, I mean, but speaking negatively and, you go either way, but
What's, these are your norms. You want to keep it, revise it?
keep it, keep it.
Keep it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, we appreciate that, so you're gonna stay with us. Okay. So we're, well, there's a next step, so we're at the end here. So our next steps are, we will come back to the board, we'll schedule a meeting, and we bring back the goals, priorities, norms for, norms, for reaffirming them. We will spend some time working on a mission statement and customer service philosophy tied into the vision. And then what's that one? Vision?
Core values.
Core values. So we'll work on that. That'll take a little bit more time for that one. We'll come back short order in the next meeting or two. Well, next meeting's tomorrow, so not that one, but we'll come back with the other items. So with that, we are done adjourned unless the board has any other.
Yeah, through the chair.
Yes, sir.
So today was a good, productive meeting. I just want to let you know, leadership is not about a title. Our CEO, our board of supervisors, department heads, we're all in this together. And so it's not that the board is, this is what the board is doing, this is what the board wants. Hopefully it's a buy-in from all of you. And hopefully we get other buy-ins from other elected officials as well. We have one left, you know, Donna stayed here, Nate was here, and so, but it's important we get buy-in from everybody. That E-team is really important to the board, all right? It's really important because our CEO will give us the input of what the E-team is saying, okay? So, just want to let you know that from this board member's perspective, that's our CEO, he's not going anywhere. That's our county council, she's not going anywhere. Other than Megan. Everyone's staying here. Everyone's staying here. So we're all in this together, and let's move, Sutter County in the right direction together, all right? Working cohesively as a one unit, okay? Thank you.
Let's pull the rope together.
Any other comments? Okay, no, I just want to wrap it up by saying that we appreciate the work that you do, appreciate the organization today and putting this together. I think this is a great exercise for the board to be a part of and along with all the other employees who are here. And we look forward to continuing to work with all of you, except for me, but move forward.
Well, we have Megan's phone number.
Yeah, all right, thank you guys. Have a great one.